Hi again, everyone. I'm Len Casper. Welcome to the Hyundai Leadoff Man as the Cubs wrap up the home portion of the 2010 schedule. Kind of interesting. It was 67 degrees at game time on April 12th for the home opener. It's going to be pretty cold today, a lot colder than it was in April. But that's the way it goes once you get into late September. And the Cubs bats finally heated up yesterday after a very slow start to this 6-game homestand. It was nice in the sun yesterday, certainly, and the Cubs getting it going. Chris Carpenter, who would lose to the Cubs 3 times this season. First time in his career he's lost to the same team 3 times. Aramis Ramirez with an RBI hit. Micah Hoffpower reaching on an infield single in the 3rd inning. And the play of the game here is Brian Anderson airmailing third base as Kosuke was caught up in a rundown. That 3rd inning continuing. Cubs were down 3-0 in 1 point, but now Sam Fuld with a 2-run single, making it 4-3 Cubs, who would not look back the rest of the day. Got a little worse for the Cardinals as Tony La Russa, their manager, ejected in the middle of the 4th inning. The crew chief and home plate umpire Joe West tossing him, we believe because he was arguing balls and strikes. Cubs would add on in the 4th inning. Ramirez gets that hanging breaking ball from Carpenter and knocks in Starlin Castro. That made it 5-3. Then in the 5th inning, Blake DeWitt against the team he grew up rooting for with a 2-run triple into the right field corner. Casey Coleman would follow Sam Fuld to the plate. Cubs lead 7-3, and that's all the rookie right-hander Coleman would need as he won his 2nd consecutive start. A career-best 7 innings pitched, 4 strikeouts, only 2 walks, 2 earned runs on 5 hits. Carlos Marmol would come on, and of course would strike out the side. He faced 5 batters in the 9th inning. Nobody put a ball in play. A hit batter, a walk, 3 strikeouts. He now has the Cubs' all-time single-season record among relievers and strikeouts. And again, Casey Coleman with that career-best 7 innings pitched has opened some eyes as we look ahead to 2011. When we come back, we'll talk about these festivities here on closing day as the Cub players getting to know the fans a little bit better. But as we go to break, let's take a look at today's Hyundai dealer of the game, Happy Hyundai in Oak Lawn, Illinois. See the cars the experts are raving about at myhyundaichicago.com. The Hyundai Leadoff Man, brought to you in part by Walgreens, the pharmacy of the Chicago Cubs. And by your Chicago Hyundai dealers. See the cars the experts are raving about at myhyundaichicago.com. Washington weekend. So every Cubs player signed a batch of balls, and they're going to send them into the stands. Carlos Zambrano, Carlos Marmol. And as the players are emptying those satchels full of autographed baseballs as we get set for the final home game here in 2010. Well, the Cardinals are still not officially out of the race. Their elimination number is down to 2. Of course, they lost yesterday. That got the Reds' magic number down to 2, but Cincinnati lost later in the day at San Diego, so it's just a matter of time before the Reds clinch the division, which could happen as early as later today. The Reds are in San Diego. The Cubs will play 4 games at San Diego starting tomorrow night. Right now, the Padres a half game up on the Giants in the National League West. And as you saw in those standings, the Cubs still have a chance to catch Milwaukee for 4th and an outside chance to grab 3rd if they can catch the Houston Astros. Time now for Bob's AutoZone tip of the day. Get ready for the home opener. 187 days away. The tip of the day brought to you by AutoZone. For the auto parts, accessories, and advice you need, get in the zone. AutoZone. Walgreens, the pharmacy of the Chicago Cubs. And by your Chicago Hyundai dealers. See the cars the experts are raving about at myhyundaichicago.com. Well, it's our final Hyundai leadoff man here for 2010. We want to thank all of our great sponsors, especially our title sponsor, Hyundai, for all its great support. And we give you the pitching matchup for the final home game as Jake Westbrook will make his Wrigley Field debut. Coaxes a lot of ground balls, throws a heavy sinker. Jeff Samardzija, 2-0 in 2 starts since returning from AAA Iowa, including a win at St. Louis. No runs allowed on September 13th. So the Cubs will wrap up this homestand. Sun trying to peek through the clouds as we bring you the Cardinals and Cubs next. We are at Wrigley Field for the final time here in 2010 as WGN Sports brings you Chicago Cubs baseball. It's a rubber game today as the Cubs try to push the Cardinals to the brink of playoff elimination. Their elimination number in the Central is down to 2. We welcome Cub fans from all over the country watching on WGN America, America's home for baseball. Hi again, everyone. Alongside Bob Brenly, I'm Len Casper. Cool temperatures, wind blowing in today. The Cardinals won Friday. The Cubs took Game 2 yesterday. It's been a disappointing season at home. The Cubs would like to reverse this record next year.
You know, you mentioned the wind blowing in here today. That's one of many nuances that we have here at Wrigley Field that you'd like to believe the Cubs could use to their advantage. That has not been the case this year. You think about the well, you think about the ivy, you think about the bricks, and, of course, the wind is always a factor, but the Cubs haven't been able to take advantage this year.
And if the Cardinals could have reversed this record against the Cubs, they're 5-9 versus the Northsiders. Bob, they'd be 2.5 out today.
Well, too bad for the Cardinals. The good news is if the Cubs are going to have a disappointing season, at least beat the Cardinals, and they've done that with consistency this year.
And the two most consistent pitchers in the Cubs bullpen all season, the M&M boys, Sean Marshall and Carlos Marmol.
Yeah, for both these young men, career-making seasons this year. They both really came into their own. Marmol is one of the most dominating closers in the game, and Sean Marshall is the most reliable setup guy. Lefty-righty makes no difference. He gets everybody out.
All right, we're just moments away from the first pitch today. Let's send it down to the field for God Bless America and our national anthem.
And join Wayne and Kathleen Messmer as they honor the United States by first performing God Bless America, followed by our national anthem.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land
me tonight? I'm the designated driver. Budweiser, responsibility matters. Pepsi, every brought to you by Budweiser. Want to go home with me tonight? I'm the designated driver. Budweiser, responsibility matters. Pepsi, every Pepsi refreshes the world. Submit your idea at refresheverything.com. And by Illinois Lottery's newest game, Powerball. Wednesday and Saturday jackpots start at $20 million. And today's game is available on your SAP audio setting provided by WRTO La Tremenda, Chicago's Spanish language sports leader. Cubs SAP brought to you by Galaxy, home remodeling experts since 1984. Do great work, give a great deal. That's Galaxy. Great work all year long by Hector Fabregas and Elio Benitez, calling Cubs games in Spanish on our secondary audio channel. As we look in on Tony La Russa's Cardinal lineup, Skip Schumacher leads it off at second base. It's Alan Craig in right at the big home run on Friday. Albert Pujols has been on base 7 times already in the series. Matt Holliday's 16-game hitting streak ended yesterday. Rasmussen center. Daniel Descalzo's at third. Brendan Ryan at short. Matt Pagnazzi, the catcher. And Jake Westbrook in his Wrigley debut will hit ninth.
Let's check out how the Cubs take the field defensively today. Behind Jeff Samardzija, brought to you by Pepsi. Every Pepsi refreshes the world. Soriano, Fold, and Fukudome across the outfield this afternoon. Bobby Scales getting a start at third base. Starlin Castro at short. Blake DeWitt and Xavier Nady on the right side of the infield. Youngster Wellington Castillo getting one of his rare starts here. He seems to be the Sunday catcher for the Cubs recently. And because it's Sunday, that means Jeff Samardzija is pitching. And Samardzija will be looking to improve his resume, looking forward to next season. Pitched very well against the Cardinals last time out, 5 2/3 innings. Did give up 6 hits, but did not allow a run in that ball game. Also back that up with a real good outing against the Marlins the next time out.
Dan Bellino, who makes his offseason home in Illinois, will work the plate. Angel Hernandez, Rob Drake, and the crew chief Joe West on the bases this afternoon. Bobby Scales in on the grass at third as Skip Schumacher takes a fastball low, and away we go. Mostly cloudy skies above. We'll get you the Chrysler game forecast here in a second. That is outside, 94 again on the heat.
Keep saying that. Heat, heat, heat.
Well, I said it on the leadoff man. It was 67 degrees on opening day at Wrigley Field. Closing day, going to be a lot colder than that. Right down the middle. And it's 3-1. Well, I think the Cardinals right now, partner, are playing the what-if game. The Reds are appearing to limp to the finish. They've lost 3 in a row as Schumacher takes a leadoff walk. The Cardinals just have not been able to get hot to put some pressure on them. So the leadoff man is on as we check out that Chrysler game forecast brought to you by Chrysler. For more info on our vehicle lineup, log on to Chrysler.com or stop by your Chicagoland or Northwest Indiana Chrysler dealer today. Heavy wind off the lake blowing straight in from center. Humidity not a factor at the moment, but fall has definitely arrived. This is Alan Craig. He got the late call on Friday to start for Nick Stavanoa, and he hit a game-winning 3-run homer in the first inning. Cardinals are 15-26 since they swept the Reds in Cincinnati. There's a base hit out into right center. Schumacher is going to stop at second, respecting the arm of Kosuke Fukudome. Remember, the Cardinals jumped into first place briefly. They really went into a free fall after that. And I think at that time, Bob, when you looked at their schedule, you would have given the Cardinals the advantage, but it has not played out that way.
I think everybody in baseball was surprised the way things turned out after that brawl with the Cincinnati Reds. I think most people around the game felt that that was going to be an igniter for the Cardinals and they were going to take off and take control of the division, but exactly the opposite has happened until recently. The Reds have been the team that has tried to run away and hide.
A lot of speculation about Tony La Russa's future. It seems like there are more question marks than answers in terms of that manager's chair around baseball at the moment. There's going to be major turnover around both leagues. That one's going to turn over out on to Waveland. A 3-run homer for Albert Pujols. So 3 batters into the game. It's 3-0. It's his 7th against the Cubs this season. 14 RBIs.
The Cubs have just not given Pujols many opportunities to swing the bat in this series, but how can you not swing at that? That is a meatball fastball right down the middle of the plate to one of the best hitters in the game, and that's what happens when you make mistakes to really good hitters. They punish you.
And you never want to give up home runs, but the worst part of it is that there were 2 guys on base when it happened. And for Pujols, that's now 408 career home runs. He has the most home runs ever for a player in his first 10 seasons. He leads the league with 42. It was his National League leading 112th runs scored, rather. Three more RBIs, 116. He just passed Carlos Gonzalez. A pretty decent chance Pujols could win 2 legs of the Triple Crown this season. Two on Holiday. You have a pretty interesting team race, as the home run for Pujols gives him a .313 average. That's Matt Holliday's batting average. Pujols has never finished out of first on his own team in average. Three and two on Holiday. You saw Mark McGuire, Cardinal first-year hitting coach, chatting with one of his new pupils. We'd all be so lucky then to be Albert Pujols' hitting coach, huh?
Yeah.
Here comes Larry Rothschild.
Talk about job security.
So Samardzija just has not gotten comfortable. Two starts back from Iowa. Both wins, both on the road. This is his first appearance at Wrigley Field since April 15th against Milwaukee. Spent most of the year at Iowa.
And if you haven't seen his last couple of starts, quite a few mechanical changes for Jeff Samardzija. He used to take a full wind up. His hands would go way up above and behind his head as he started his wind up. It's abbreviated everything. His windup almost looks like his stretch position, just trying to eliminate a lot of the moving parts and try to get his arm more consistently in a good slot.
Colby Rasmus, foul tips for strike one. One for 8 in the series. Colby Rasmus is a very key component when you look ahead at the Cardinals' future. questions are going to start coming about Albert Pujols' contract, which the Cardinals are going to have to talk about an extension at some point, as Castillo couldn't handle that wild one. So they have Pujols under control through 2011. They have Matt Holliday for a long time, but I think Colby Rasmus's development as an offensive player is going to be a big key to their success.
I don't think there's any question about it, Len. Plus his defense in center field. There's a lot of room to cover down at Busch Stadium in St. Louis and some of the other bigger ballparks around baseball. I mean, Matt Holliday in left field, no question. The offense is his primary concern. Not a great defender in right. You need a center fielder that can cover a lot of ground, and Rasmus has been able to do that for the Cardinals.
With every great hitter, you try to protect him as well as you can. Matt Holliday has supplied a lot of protection. Rasmus right behind him in the lineup. Pulled foul.
He's not in the lineup today, but John Jay, another young outfielder for the Cardinals that figures into their plans heavily for the future. Not a big-time power hitter, but a good contact hitter. Should hit for a high average, take his base on balls, and give him a little bit of speed.
Another full count, 3-2.
Boy, Jeff just can't seem to find a consistent release point. He's missed in the dirt out front of home plate several times. He's missed up high out of the strike zone. Needless to say, the opposition is not going to give you time to settle in out there on the mound. They're going to take advantage of every mistake you make early in a ball game.
Holliday just took off for third, ball 4. So not only did he walk Rasmus, he kind of forgot about Matt Holliday, who picked up his 9th steal. So first and third with nobody out. It's 3 walks already. Now Daniel Descalzo, third base, will be an issue for the Cardinals in the offseason. A revolving door over there this season. Look at his start, 6 out of 13. He pops it up. Scales and Castillo get together. It's Bobby Scales for a huge first out.
Descalso, you mentioned his numbers, a little overly aggressive in this situation. After 3 walks already in the first inning, attacks the first pitch he sees and pops it up into foul territory for Bobby Scales. Now, ideally, Jeff Samardzija one ground ball away from getting out of this inning and trying to limit the damage.
Should mention David Freese has made the most starts at third, but out for the year due to right ankle surgery. He'll probably be the incumbent going into next season. Brendan Ryan now, still at the corners, 1 away. 3-run homer earlier by Pujols. Inside, ball 1.
Once again, Brendan Ryan with the blue sleeves on today. We pointed it out in yesterday's ball game. All of his teammates and coaches wearing red undersleeves, but Brendan Ryan swimming against the current once again today.
Samardzija's 25, 6'5", 225 pounds. You say he's built like a wide receiver. It's because he was one at Notre Dame. An All-American, in fact. Got 27 touchdowns in his career there, but ultimately chose baseball. The Cubs took him in the 5th round of the '06 draft. Another pop-up on the infield. Scales again. 2 outs. Bring up the catcher, Matt Pagnazzi. Second start of the series. We saw Brian Anderson yesterday. No Yadier Molina because of a sore knee. And a base hit out into left center. That will bring home Holiday, and it's 4-0. It'll also bring the pitcher up to the plate before he throws a pitch. Jake Westbrook.
Well, unfortunately, here in the first inning, Samardzija has either missed the strike zone by such a wide margin that the Cardinals weren't tempted to swing, or he's come right down the middle of the plate. The home run to Pujols, and now the base hit to Pagnozzi. Both fastballs right down the middle.
Swing and a miss, strike one.
Two for 19 for Westbrook with 10 strikeouts in the National League.
Oh, 2 trails inside. .30 pitches already for Samardzija this inning. Number 31, it's low. Two, swing and a miss on a sinker to finally end the inning. 3 walks, 4 runs, 3 runs scoring on the Pujols homer. Cardinals brought to you by Pepsi. Every Pepsi refreshes the world. Marlon Byrd feeling better after hitting that foul ball. It ultimately hit his face the other day, but Sam Fuld getting another start at center. Castro has been red hot here at home. Blake DeWitt, second time in his career he's hit third in a lineup. Nady, Fukudome, Soriano in the middle. Bobby Scales in for Ramos Ramirez. Wellington Castillo back of the plate with Jeff Samardzija hitting 9th.
Take a look at the Cardinals' defense of the day. Matt Holliday leading the National League in doubles. He's allowed a few doubles playing left field. It'll be Colby Rasmussen center, Alan Craig over in right field, Descalso, Ryan, Schumacher, and Pujols across the infield. Matt Pagnozzi doing the catching today for right-handed sinker baller Jake Westbrook. There was one right out of the chute. An extreme ground ball pitcher. He complements that sinker with a cut fastball, an occasional slider, an occasional straight changeup.
Westbrook turns 33 in 3 days, 6'3", 215 pounds, acquired from the Cleveland Indians on July 31st, in a deal that sent outfielder Ryan Ludwig to the San Diego Padres. Cardinals felt they needed to bolster their starting rotation. They beat the Cubs in St. Louis on August 13th, and this is the first time he's ever pitched here at Wrigley Field. Sam Fuld with a game-winning 2-run single yesterday. That was off Chris Carpenter in the 3rd inning, but everybody talking about his infield single in the 5th inning. Check swing Tapper, and Westbrook's just going to tag Sam, who is pretty shaken up after hitting the liner off the face of Blake Hawksworth. We have good news. Hawksworth never did lose consciousness, did not lose any teeth, but we understand he took upwards of 20 stitches on his upper lip. And one of his teeth was pushed back. He may have to have some dental work done, but would be very surprised if Hawksworth pitches again this season. All in all, it could have been a lot worse. And Sam was so concerned, he did send word over to the Cardinal clubhouse to pass along his best wishes. But it's a very scary incident, and you're almost surprised it doesn't happen more often.
And Hawksworth is one of the better pitchers at being prepared for balls hit back through the middle. He's not one of those guys that falls off the mound or has a very exaggerated follow through and ends up facing first base or with his back to home plate. He was in a pretty good fielding position, just not enough time to react.
Starlin Castro has hit .407 here at home over his last 14 games at Wrigley. And as we showed you when we gave you the lineup, .348 on the season at home. Barehanded play by Brendan Ryan. He had to get rid of it quickly, and Pujols able to dig it out at the other end.
Pretty slick play by Brendan Ryan at shortstop. Because of the way Castro gets down the line and because of the way he came out of the batter's box on that swing, I didn't know if Ryan was going to have a chance, but he does his best Omar Vizquel impersonation and fields that ball with his bare hand and throws on in time to get Castro at first.
Blake DeWitt, unfamiliar with the number 3 spot, but then again, he wasn't necessarily a prototypical leadoff man either before Mike Quaddy inserted him atop the order. And without specifically asking the Cubs manager, I'm gathering that, and I think he's right, that we make sometimes too much of certain spots in the order. I think Q looks at the matchups, the guys he wants to play, and then he just lines them up 1 through 8 with the pitcher hitting 9th. We've seen Baker and DeWitt in that leadoff spot. Not guys you normally would think about, but generally, Bob, the guys who get on base the most in certain situations, those are the guys you want to lead off. Back to the pitcher Westbrook as he makes a catch. That'll end the first inning. 4-0 St. Louis. Chicago Cubs Multiview app in partnership with WGN Sports. Now for Cubs home games on WGN through the rest of the season as Skip Schumacher flies out. We start the second. AT&T U-verse viewers can call their own shots. A Multiview app allows a viewer to choose from 7 different camera angles and watch 4 at the same time. Multiview is on channel 780 and available to all U-verse TV customers in the Chicago area. So if you have a favorite cameraman, you just stay on his shot all day. Nice addition to the WGN Cubs viewing experience. 1-0 on Alan Craig. Jeff Samardzija in bad need of a quick inning here. They're facing 9 in the first. Deep to left, Soriano flipping down the shades as he tracks it in the corner. He just can't get there in time as Craig has a double. So he's 2 for 2.
Well, that wind just continued to push the ball further and further away from Soriano. Looked like he had a beat on it momentarily and then had to accelerate again. The ball just kept pushing toward that left field corner. Alan Craig seeing the ball extremely well in the early going here today with his second hit of the ball game. We're only in the second inning.
They will intentionally walk Pujols. To face Holiday. So for Pujols, this will be his 5th walk of the series.
And the 36th intentional walk of the season for Big Albert.
Just snapped a tie for 45th with that first inning home run, passing Andrew Jones and Duke Snider for 45th. We are email accessible as always. Len and Bob at Tribune.com. You can follow us at Twitter.com/Len and Bob as well. Big swing by Holiday, just got a piece. He walked in the first, moved to second on a wild pitch, stole third, and then scored on the Pagnazzi single. Holiday has been extremely consistent this season. Mentioned the long hitting streak, 16 games ended yesterday. But going back to April 17th, he hasn't gone more than 2 in a row without a hit. DeWitt from a knee will get it to Nady. 2 down, runners at second and third. Colby Rasmus walked in the first. Popped up. Look at that wind. Castro over, still fair territory, just a couple steps from the line as the inning comes to an end for Zip St. Louis. Bottom 2, sinker for a strike to Xavier Nady. 4-0 Cardinals. Quiet homestand for Nady, 1 for 13 with a walk. Scalded foul in the stands behind the Cardinal dugout. Westbrook, a former Yankee and Cleveland Indian. An all-star in 2004. Ground ball to third. We're going to hear that a lot today as Pujols got back to the bag in time to get Nady. Angel Hernandez made the call as the throw from Descalzo pulled Pujols off of first base.
For understandable reasons, Albert Pujols' offense overshadows the other aspects of his game, but he's as good around that bag at first as anybody in the National League. Pick throws out of the dirt, showed his versatility and flexibility that time, coming off the bag, but able to get the foot back on in time.
A little shaken up. Remember, he's dealing with a very sore left elbow, battling a sore ankle, some little nagging injuries. He actually sat out a game against the Cubs on the Cubs' last road trip, which I don't think I've ever seen. Albert missing a game against the Cubs?
I don't think it was his preference. He did receive a cortisone injection, and training staff felt he would be best served by sitting out that one game against the Cubs. But it's an ongoing thing that most players that you see on the field in the major leagues right now are all dealing with some kind of minor injury, some major injuries. It gets to be that time of year, especially for those teams in a pennant race where you ask the team doctor, can I hurt it any worse if I keep playing? And if the doc says no, then you just keep playing.
2-2 to Fukudome. Kosuke hitting in the 5th spot. Westbrook wastes very little time.
Well, being a sinker ball pitcher and throwing a lot of ground balls, it's incumbent that his defense is on their toes at all times.
Swing and a miss. The sinker was up, but Kosuke just missed it. Late movement on it, but that is, as a batter, that's what you want a sinker baller to do, right?
That's what you tell yourself going in. Yeah, make him get the ball up. I mean, you can't make him get the ball up, but you have to reinforce in your own mind, I don't want to swing at anything from the middle of the thighs down because it's probably going to end up out of the strike zone. If he throws that sinker up around the belt, that's a pitch I want to swing hard at.
Knocked down by Westbrook. Plenty of time to get Soriano for the final out. 6 up, 6 down for the Cardinals starter to begin this game.
unofficial beer of the Thirst Inning. Let's check out the crowd through the Thirst Inning fan cam and see who's enjoying the game. Martha Davis in the motels with Suddenly Last Summer. Budweiser, it's what we do.
1 ball, no strikes on Daniel Descalzo as we begin the third inning. Great to have with us in the booth Wally Hayward, the Cubs Executive Vice President, Chief Sales and Marketing Officer. It's hard to believe this is a 81st home date of 2010.
It's hard to believe. Year one, we're coming to a close, and as a fan, I thought baseball was a long season, but now that I'm here, it truly has gone fast, and can't wait for our convention in January, spring training, and to get back out here on April 1st.
I think we had it, Wally, 187 days until the 2011 home opener here at Wrigley Field, which will be a Friday afternoon against the Pittsburgh Pirates. But as you mentioned, the convention coming up in mid-January. And we all look forward to that, as a lot of former Cub greats and the current Cubs will be there. And it's at the Hilton Chicago, as always, January 14th, 15th, and 16th, the 26th annual Cubs convention.
Yeah, we're only 109 days away, and I know we're winding down the season, but it's going to be a great opportunity for our fans, not only here in Chicago, but around the country, to come in and be able to get close to our fans and our new manager, who will be there. So we're trying to make it a great experience, and tickets are on sale. If you go to Chicago Hilton and buy your hotel package, you do get discounted tickets for $20, and the weekend sales will go on November 3rd for $60. And we look forward to having all our Cub fans in Chicago in January, and I trust everything will be warm at the Hilton.
That'll follow the Cubs caravan as we'll travel around the state in Northwest Indiana. People excited about the upcoming season as Sam Fold makes a catch, and over 3 million in attendance for the 7th consecutive year.
Well, it's great. It shows the power and the passion of our fan base in Chicago, and we were outside all the gates today greeting all the fans as they came into Wrigley Field to thank them for all their support. We really appreciate it all season and their loyalty, and we look forward to year 2 of the Ricketts ownership.
We had shots of Tom and Laura outside greeting the fans as they came in. I think they've become very quickly among the most accessible ownership group in professional sports. It was a base hit for Brendan Ryan.
Yeah, and they're huge Cub fans like all of us, and we are committed to putting a championship product out on the field and creating the best possible experience for all our fans, whether there are season ticket holders or fans coming from around the country for their one game during the season.
Here's Matt Pagnozzi, 1 on, 1 out. We're with Wally Hayward, the Cubs Executive Vice President, Chief Sales and Marketing Officer. Final home game here in 2010.
We know you guys are looking forward to the convention and all those fan questions that we get to start the year. There's the best questions are usually the kids that come out and have the opportunity to get close to our players and interact with all of you that they watch constantly on WGN TV.
Well, you mentioned the new manager, whether it's Mike Quaddy or somebody else in that seat. I go back to Lou Pinella's first Cubs convention. The first question on the caravan: who's going to play center? It wasn't, hey, Lou, welcome to Chicago. Tell us a little bit about your... They wanted to dive right into the lineup. Who was going to lead off? Who was going to play center?
You better hit the ground running. Well, for me, excuse me, the great thing about the convention is there's something for every Cubs fan. Recently, you've been inviting some of the minor league players to come to the convention. Certainly all the broadcasters are there, the current players, and obviously all the fan favorites from years gone by. And I think that kind of covers the spectrum of Cubs fans.
Right, absolutely. Whether you're my daughter that wants to come out all the way up to my dad coming out with their grandkids. It's a great opportunity, really, to have a lot of fun, get close to not only the front office, but current players, former players, our legends, and everyone that makes Cubs baseball come together.
It's a great time of the year because it'll probably be about 5 degrees as Ron Santo looks on. He'll be there. Makes you think about baseball here in Chicago. Let's get about a foot of snow right before the convention. So it's a winter wonderland, but we think about spring and summer.
Well, that's why it's good to book your hotels now for the Chicago Hilton. What better way to get out of the cold and come down to the city and spend a nice weekend with all the Cubs players and the management team.
Again, that's the 14th, 15th, and 16th of January. 2011 at the Hilton Chicago. You can book your room now, 312-922-4400. We've had an interesting weather week. It was 67 on opening day, 56 today.
Well, the good thing, this is the first time in a long time that we have not had a rainout here at Wrigley Field in year one.
That's right. I thought weather-wise it was a pretty good year. We had about a 71-minute rain delay earlier this week against the Giants, but you're right, getting them in, and we haven't had too many long delays this season.
No, it's been great. The weather's worked out.
It was a foul ball. Scales could not corral it, but it was foul. 2-2 the count.
You know, and Wally, even as we wrap up this season, there have been so many great promotions, so many great fan giveaways here at the ballpark. Anything on tap for next year that you can tip us off to?
You guys are always looking for the scoop, and we haven't even finished the season. But no, we've gotten a lot of great suggestions and feedback from our fans, both from email and in writing today out at the game on different things we can do, whether it's bobbleheads, floppy hats, other promotions we can do with our partners. But we're going to continue to look to do more to make sure our fans just absolutely have a great time when they come out here for their Cubs games next season.
I like the little twist on the bobbleheads this year. You had Ryan Theriot before he was traded, Carlos Zambrano in non-baseball poses. Carlos playing soccer, Ryan Theriot doing what he loves to do, fishing, as Castillo will throw right on the money.
Well, as you know, our players here are a lot of fun. They all have great personalities, and we want to try and take, a lot of our fans only see them as the baseball players on the field, and really try and tap into their personal hobbies and things that they're passionate about aside from Cubs and baseball, and showcase that with the fans.
Meanwhile, 3-2 on Pagnazzi, and that's low ball 4, so that'll bring the pitcher up. I thought another highlight from this season, Wally, was our bleacher broadcast. We had a lot of fun. We were just a little bit to the left of center on a beautiful afternoon in the first half. We'll do that again next year for sure.
You can count on it. We might do more than one as well. But no, it was great having you out there, and I know the bleacher fans, even though they're far away from you here up in the booth, it's great to have you guys out there and really connect with them.
I like just changing the view every once in a while.
Yeah, and that was a great view from our perspective last year, as Len mentioned, just to the left of the batter's eye out there in center field. You know how much I like to critique the umpires, Wally, and that gave me a great view out there.
Ukadome in right will retire Westbrook. Wally Hayward, thanks so much, as always, for your time. And again, great to see Tom Ricketts out shaking hands with the fans, signing some autographs before the game today. 4-0 St. Louis. check out our WGN Baseball blog on WGNTV.com. That's what Bob and I do in the booth before the game. Funny faces on our iPhones. We have a big thank you to our wonderful TV crew. Video of James Denton singing the stretch yesterday. Game notes from Stats, much more. And our season wrap-up podcast will be available tomorrow. Check it out at WGNTV.com. 2-0 on switch-hitting third baseman Bobby Scales. Cubs without a base runner through 2 against Westbrook. Coaxes a swing and a miss. Nice crowd here on this cool Sunday. Low 3-1. A regular season, save for a one-game play-in game. 1 week from today, this regular season comes to an end. And the playoffs start a couple of days after that. Scales takes the leadoff walk.
Chicago Cubs baseball on WGN TV is sponsored in part by the Illinois Lottery Mega Millions. Tuesday's Mega Millions jackpot is $23 million.
There's a catcher, Wellington Castillo, second caught stealing as he was able to nail Brendan Ryan in the top of this inning.
Castillo has had some very respectable offensive seasons at the minor league level, but his forte is catching and throwing, as he demonstrated gunning down Brendan Ryan at second base by a wide margin. Strong, accurate throwing arm.
Two strikes on Wellington, making his 4th start. Way inside, 1-2. Westbrook's fortes would be double play balls. He's gotten 173 of them in his career. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Brings up the pitcher, Samardzija.
Well, any good sinker ball pitcher, I think back to Greg Maddux, he relied heavily upon that sinking fastball. Not only do you need your infield defense to play well behind you, you need to be a good fielder yourself. And Jake Westbrook has done that already in the game today. 2 putouts and an assist through the first 7 outs of the game.
His first full season in a couple of years. Just 5 starts in 08 for Cleveland before succumbing to Tommy John surgery. Also had right hip surgery in September of that year, and he didn't pitch at all last season. He's had a full year here in 2010, making his 32nd start. Combined with Cleveland and the Cardinals, 8-11. With his ERA a lot better since the trade. This is his 11th start. He has a 3.77 with St. Louis. There goes the runner, Scales, and he's going to make it. So for Bobby Scales, that's his first major league stolen base. And that right there, it tells you that Yadier Molina's not catching. I don't think the Cubs try that if Molina's a catcher.
I think that ball actually hit Bobby Scales. He went into his slide there at second base. Brendan Ryan kind of fanned on the ball. Looked like it hit Bobby in the lower back.
Painful way to pick up a steal. 3-1 to Samardzija.
You're right about Molina behind the plate. Not only does he not surrender very many stolen bases, teams have just given up trying.
Swing and a miss. 3-2. Full, the leadoff man on deck. Ball 4. He's walked 2 in the inning. Walks have been an issue for Westbrook lately. 11 walks over his previous 3 starts combined.
For Samardzija, that was a pretty good at bat for a guy that only has 4 at bats all season long, to be able to lay off and take the base on balls and ideally set up a big inning for the Cubs here as we roll around to the top of the order.
Last year, Sam Fuld waited until the final day of the season before he picked up his first career homer and RBI. In his 123rd career plate appearance and his 79th game. It was a long time coming, and then, of course, the next time up, he knocked in another run. Double play, ball 4, 6-3 to end the inning. 2 walks, a stolen base, but no runs. After 3, 4-0 St. Louis.
From Menards, Jeff Samardzija in his previous 2 starts before today, a perfect 2-0 record. The ERA just over 2, and it held opponents to a .214 batting average. Rocky first inning today, hoping to improve the rest of the afternoon here today. For all your home improvement needs, shop and save big money at Menards.
Leadoff man Skip Schumacher in that leadoff spot for the 3rd time today. Takes a fastball out of the zone, ball 1. Cubs come in 19-10 under manager Mike Quade. They have won 6 of the 9 series under Mike, trailing the rubber game today. Going to get any easier this coming week. 4 games at San Diego. Padres back in the lead in the National League West. Krista Northia with with a game-ending RBI double off Aroldis Chapman yesterday, a 4-3 victory. Punched into left, but Soriano was playing in and makes a catch. Other than yesterday, the Cubs haven't scored much lately, and again, that's going to be a challenge. Tim Stauffer recently put in a Padre rotation, has a 1.95 ERA. Matt Latos at 2.91. He'll pitch Tuesday. Chris Young just back from the DL has a 1.20, and then John Garland, he's been awful, 3.58.
The Padres team ERA leads all of Major League Baseball and has done so pretty much all season from start to finish. They've been one of the best and most consistent pitching staffs in baseball. And it certainly doesn't hurt that they play 81 of their games in Petco Park, where you need a howitzer to get a ball out of there at night.
Cubs will have Zambrano, Dempster, Wells, and Gorzolani on the mound in that series. We'll have the first two games Monday night, Tuesday night, 9 o'clock Central here on WGN. (2-1) to Alan Craig. Fouled away, 2-2.
It's hard to believe that just a few days ago we were sweating through everything up here in the booth. High heat and humidity, but feels like fall today.
I get arguments from people all the time. I like this better than 93. Everyone says, well, when it's December, you're going to miss 93. I like it temperate, warm maybe, cool is okay. I know you like it in the triple digits.
Give me the heat.
Yep. Scales gets Craig. Hey, once again, we want to remind you the 26th Annual Cubs Convention will take place at the Hilton Chicago January 14th, 15th, and 16th, 2011. Rooms are available now by calling the Hilton Chicago 312-922-4400 and asking for the Cubs Convention rate. Weekend passes go on sale in early November. For more info, visit Cubs.com. Pujols has hit a 3-run homer and been intentionally walked. He's had the Babe Ruth line, the Barry Bonds line, and now the Albert Pujols line. Homers and intentional walks. You could argue that 42 home runs from Albert Pujols is more impressive than 52 home runs by Jose Bautista, considering how few chances he gets. Taking nothing away from what Bautista's done this season, but how many good pitches to hit does Albert really see throughout the course of a year compared to other everyday players?
I'd say fewer than anybody. But that being said, good hitters, when they do get pitches in the strike zone, rarely miss them. They hit the ball hard somewhere. It may not leave the ballpark, but they're going to do some damage when you leave a pitch in that strike zone without movement. They're going to hit it hard someplace. That's what separates the great ones from the good ones.
You get under this one. Alfonso Soriano for the third out. They go down in order for the first time. Cardinals 4, Cubs nothing in the fourth. Cubs still without a hit against Jake Westbrook. A couple of base runners in the third. They were both walks. 1-1 on Castro. Mike Quade was asked before the game, what would you like Starlin to work on or stress in the offseason? And his manager said the first thing is get some rest. A long season, the longest of his life at age 20 to get the out. And then he said defense. I thought Mike Quade said it right. He said he's got stuff to improve upon offensively. But he said if he doesn't pick up a bat all winter, I would be fine with it. He should focus 100% on improving defensively, and he'll probably get a month's worth of action in the Dominican Republic with Escogido in the Winter League, probably starting in December. And just experience at this point in his life, right?
And just more repetitions, and hopefully take some of the lessons that he learned this season here at the major league level, some of the things he needs to improve upon, and really focus and concentrate on those particular aspects of his defense.
DeWitt grounds out. Westbrook's sinker has been effective today. It is getaway day for the Cubs, so it's time to check out their upcoming Expedia road schedule. 4 in San Diego, 3 in Houston, and then the season comes to an end. Expedia.com. Where you book matters.
Oh, and it is getaway day, and it's the last road trip, and I saw some of the outfits that the rookies are going to be featuring on the flight this afternoon.
Oh, that's going to be fun.
Oh, boy.
And the Cubs have a lot of rookies.
Yes, they do. I believe there were 12 separate costumes hanging in the back room down behind the clubhouse.
Westbrook off the mound. We'll hear more about this. 80 grounds out. Still 4-zip Cardinals after 4. More cowbell, please. 2-0 the count on Matt Holliday. Magic numbers quickly here. Tampa Bay with a 1.5 game lead over the Yankees in the American League East. The Rays have won 4 in a row. The Yankees have dropped 4 straight. Holliday takes a walk. First, today's Walgreens Celebrity Bat Kids. Hannah Simon of Deerfield, Illinois, and Landon Werdeman from Ankeny, Iowa. For more info on how you can be a Walgreens celebrity bat kid, go to WGNradio.com. Walgreens, the pharmacy. The Chicago Cubs. Dreaded leadoff walk. 6 given up by Samardzija as Rasmus takes a strike. So Tampa Bay has a postseason magic number of 2. That involves the Red Sox, who are not out of it yet. They're 5.5 behind the Yankees in the wild card. And they still have 4 left against New York. I mean, it's going to take a miracle, but it's not over just yet. Boston winning first couple of games of that series. Twins have clinched. We know about that. Texas clinched its first postseason appearance in 11 years with a win at Oakland yesterday, 4-3. So they clinched the West. They're the only current franchise that has never won a postseason series. The Phillies' magic number in the National League East is 2. The Reds' magic number in this division also 2. And still a lot to be determined out west. The wild card is crazy. Atlanta and the Giants are tied, but again the Giants are a half game out of first in the West. The Rockies 3.5 back in the wild card after a wild win last night over the Giants. Called strike 3. Rasmus retired.
Now time for the 5th inning, brought to you by Subway. Hey, Chicagoland viewers, how'd you like to win 5 $5 footlongs from Subway? Just be the 500th texter to text Subway to 97999. Go to WGNTV.com for complete information and rules.
Ball 1 to Descalzo. Trying to make it hard on the Phillies. Ended their 11-game winning streak yesterday with a 5-2 win, and the Mets lead 5-3 in the 6th today. Braves trailing at Washington 2-1 in the 7th. Ron Santo fan.
He's not alone here at Wrigley Field. You see a lot of number 10 jerseys here at Wrigley and on the road when we travel around with the Cubs.
Braves handcuffed today by Livan Hernandez through 6 innings. He's given up 1 run. That was a Rick Ankiel home run in the 5th. Another walk. Been a big problem for Samardzija today. That's 7. Wrigleyville Rooftops has premier seating for up to 200 guests for corporate gatherings, family reunions, and bachelor or bachelorette parties. Individual and group tickets are available for all games. For more details, go to WrigleyvilleRooftops.com or call 773-248-ROOF. 2 on for Brendan Ryan. Fouled back.
You know, all things considered, Len, Jeff Samardzija has been pretty fortunate. Only 2 of the 7 walks have come around to score in this ball game, but to really consider it playing with fire to continually put Cardinal base runners on base.
Bunted by Ryan as Castillo did not make the catch, and it's foul. It's a foul ball. Great effort. Quick call made by Dan Bellino, the home plate umpire.
Well, ball just popped down that third baseline by the time Castillo finds it and makes his dive. Unfortunately, it hits him in the heel of the glove. He tried to sell it to home plate umpire Dan Bellino. You could clearly see it hit the heel of his glove and kind of rolled back toward his chest protector. He tried to smother that baseball and hide it, but Bellino right on top of the play, and the ball was first touched in foul territory, so it is a foul ball. Good call.
Back up the middle and a base hit. That was a hanging slider as Holiday coming around. Folds' throw is low, cut off by Nady, and it's now 5-0. Well, the reviews of Jeff Samardzij's performance today, Bob, when they talk about his command, we'll mention the walks. But that was an 0-2 pitch, and look where it is.
Yeah. I mean, just command in general. The ability to throw strikes when you want to, the ability to throw on the corners when you want to, and also the ability to throw the ball out of the strike zone when you want to. I just think he has not found any kind of a release point up to this point of the ball game. Made a lot of mistakes in the middle, missed by a wide margin, and certainly that's not an 0-2 pitch you like to see right in the middle of the plate.
He has thrown 15 first pitch strikes to the first 26 batters. But he has not been able to parlay that into a lot of success. Woo! 1-1. You talk a lot about throwing the pitch you can best control. Certain situations. That one hammered out into the alley. Descalzo in. Brendan Ryan sent by Jose Oquendo. It's a 2-run double for Pagnazzi, who's had a huge day. 2 hits, a walk, 3 knocked in from the 8th spot. That'll be it for Samardzij. 7-0 Cardinals. Nothing seemed to work for Jeff today. 7 hits, 7 walks, 7 runs. And it's Justin Berg coming up.
Are taking a trip to the Dominican Republic, and you can join. Stay 7 nights at Iberostar Hacienda Dominicus with your favorite Chicago Cubs players, including Sean Marshall, Carlos Marmol, and Hall of Famer Billy Williams. Go to applevacations.com/Cubs to learn more about this exclusive trip. Got my promos mixed up there for a minute.
You got through the tough part okay. Nicely done. 1 strike on Jake Westbrook, who leads 7-0. The new pitcher's Justin Berg. 0-2 on Westbrook. A career-high 7 walks given up by Jeff Samardzija, who has tied his career high by allowing 7 runs. Hopefully that's it. Guy at second base, Pagnazzi, still Samardzija's responsibility, even though he's out of the game. Up and in. Well, there's some days when you have good stuff and the other team just beats you. I think today Jeff would just tell you, I just didn't have it. Chop to the second baseman, DeWitt. That is out number 2. We recorded our final podcast of 2010 before the game today. It'll be ready for viewing tomorrow on WGNTV.com. Check it out. Runner at third, 2 outs, 3 in. Sometimes this game can get pretty complicated, but most of the time it's fairly simple. You look at what the Cardinals have done today. They've scored 7 runs. 4 of the guys who've scored got on base via the walk. That's number 1. Number 2, 3 of the runs scored on a home run. The home runs and walks are bad.
Yeah. Yeah, and you really have to give credit where credit is due. The Cardinals, last time they faced Jeff Samardzija, were very aggressive. They swung at a lot of first and second pitches in the sequence. Today they came out and decided they were going to force him to throw the ball in the strike zone before they let the bat go, and created some opportunities for guys to pick up RBIs after the base on balls.
Way outside, 3-1 on Schumacher, converted outfielder whose main position is now second base. I'm sure he and Kelly Johnson of the Diamondbacks can compare notes when those two teams face each other. Ball 4. Craig with 2 hits already. Cubs' number 5 hitter is Kosuke Fukudome. He's batted 1 time. Cardinals now going through their order for the 4th time.
I shouldn't have to point this out, but I will anyway. Guy in the on-deck circle would love to get an opportunity with the bases loaded and 2 outs in the inning. You always have to keep an eye on, in the case of the Cardinals, Albert Pujols. When is his spot going to roll around again? And as a manager and as a pitching coach, you sit there on the bench and you count out the outs. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We only have to face Albert X number of times the remainder of the game unless we have issues with base on balls. That's going to give Albert more opportunities to get to the plate with runners on base, and that is not a desirable situation.
Berg has a sign from Castillo. Here's a pitch. Smack back up the middle to make it 8-0. Run charge to Samardzija.
Well, as he makes his way to the plate with a couple runners on base, it's time to look at our BMW ultimate drive of the game. Thunder struck early in the game. Couple runners on base. Big Albert with a 3-run bomb into the left field bleachers, actually out onto Waveland Avenue to spot the Cardinals to a lead, and they continue to add on. Now's your chance to lease a new BMW 3 Series for $439 a month with nothing down and no security deposit. Visit ChicagolandBMW.com for details.
Fastball missed. 4-run first, a 4-run fifth. Boosting the Cardinals to this huge advantage. And the Cubs still without a hit against Jake Westbrook. With a slider that time on the 2-0, and it dropped into the zone 2-1.
Self-defense for third base coach Jose Oquendo. He's about to go over there and climb into our camera well just to avoid any foul line drives off the bat of Big Albert.
Swing and a miss. Tiana saying, Jose, give me a little room here.
Get out of my shot.
3-2. Runners go, and a line out to third. Bobby Scales able to flag it down. They get 4 more. It's 8-0. No baby steps. The Cubs just trying to get their first hit, trying to get something going here against Jake Westbrook as we play the bottom of the 5th. 1 strike to Kosuke, who struck out his first time up. Able to hold up, says Joe West. 1-1. Just missed that time. 3-1. Good patient at bat. Kosuke understanding the situation. But Rasmus will get there.
The 2010 Chicago Cubs baseball season on WGN is brought to you by Bud Light. The sure sign of a good time. Here we go.
The 1-0 to Soriano. Hit foul out of play.
Speaking of a good time, here we go. I know you had a good time last night checking out the Blackhawks over at the UC.
If you had dropped me into the United Center and didn't tell me the date of the game, I would have thought it was in April for first place. It was great. Soriano flies out. Hey, do you know a newborn Cubs fan? The Newborn Fan Club is the perfect gift to showcase what it means to be a Cub for life. Receive a customized photo announcing the birth on the Wrigley Field marquee, a Cubs birth certificate, Cubs baby stocking cap, and a Cubs Rookie of the Year onesie, perfect for parents and friends alike. Visit Cubs.com for more information and to sign up today. The defending Stanley Cup champs will be the team to beat once again. Scales with a base hit. The Cubs' first of the day. Comes with 2 outs in the 5th. Just out of the reach of a diving Skip Schumacher.
Curse of the sinker ball pitcher. We talk about it all the time. You're going to give up a lot of ground balls, and occasionally those ground balls are going to find holes. Bobby Scales with a topspin grounder through that left side, just under the glove of Skip Schumacher into right field for the first Cubs hit. I had a good time last night too. Len went to Park West to catch the Little Feat concert. I'd like to thank Ramina Forsythe, the general manager over there at Park West. We had a great time. One of my all-time favorite bands.
For all these years, they're still little.
They're still little.
A little older, but they're little. I've heard they're a great live act. Two 2-0 on Wellington Castillo. 2 outs. Bobby Scales at first for the Cubs' initial hit of the game. Rough day for Jeff Samardzija. Gave up 8 runs on 7 hits and 7 walks. Fair ball. Let's see if Scales can score. Holiday picks it up, and Ivan De Jesus can't take a chance. Knocked down 8. You can't get a guy thrown out at the plate.
Maybe you take a chance if it's the pitcher coming to the plate following Wellington Castillo, but Brad Snyder is going to take a pinch hit at bat here for Justin Berg. You know, normally I would say take a chance on Matt Holliday. He does not throw well. His throw back to the relay man was on a hop and offline. But you hit it right on the head. They're trailing by 8 runs. You need a lot more than Bobby Scales coming around to score with 2 outs in the inning. You're hoping somebody will step on one here and get the Cubs back into this ball game a little bit more. Just another thing a third base coach has to put into the thinking process of whether to send a runner or not. Is it going to be the pitcher taking the at-bat next? Are we going to send up a pinch hitter? Do we have a guy warmed up, ready to go in the bullpen? You put all those things into your mental computer before the ball is put into play, and that will help you make a better decision on the spot.
Snyder with a pinch hit double yesterday as he hits one into left center. Brendan Ryan got handcuffed by it. 2 will score. It's 8-2. Not sure if Brendan Ryan was distracted by the runner Wellington Castillo. That ball was hit hard, bounced past Ryan, and it'll be a hit.
You see Castillo take his lead off second, may have screened Brendan Ryan. Also that and the fact the ball was really slicing off the bat of Brad Snyder. It looked like it started right at Ryan and sliced back toward third base. He tried to reach across and make a backhanded play from a knee, but it shot through into left field for a 2 RBI base hit.
3 consecutive hits. Cubs on the board. Dave Duncan, the pitching coach, has been doing this for longer than anybody. This is his major league record, 31st year as a pitching coach in the big leagues. Two-1 to Fold, fouled straight back. Sweatshirt, blanket, long sleeve day here at the ballpark. Coming in off the lake. Fold will have to get a new bat.
I heard on one of the local radio stations recently. I wish I could give credit where credit is due, but I can't remember which station I was listening to. But they were talking about the large number of broken bats, the maple bats, and the way they explode. And they brought up a good point. When was the last time you saw a big league hitter grab the bat by the barrel and tap the handle on home plate to see if the bat was cracked or not? That used to be a regular occurrence. You'd see it happen several times a game. A hitter would take a swing and foul the ball off and then look at the handle of the bat and then tap it on home plate and kind of listen to it to see if you could hear a defect in the bat. You don't have to do that anymore because if the bat cracks, it explodes into at least 2 or 3 pieces.
Snyder goes on the 3-2. Fold fouled it off himself.
That was a good observation. I hadn't really thought about it until they brought it up, but you just don't see that anymore.
Kind of know it immediately. Outside as Sam takes a walk. Westbrook facing his first real adversity this afternoon. Nothing in one on Castro. Change up, maybe it looked like. Took something off it. Good late movement, darting toward Castro's ankles. 0-2. Breaking ball and a ground ball to short. They'll get the out at second. That ends the inning. Pinch hitter Brad Snyder's 2-run single puts the Cubs on the board. It's 8-2 St. Louis.
With Toyota. Take a look at the cards against the Cubs. Since August 14th, the Cubs have had the better of it until this afternoon. They've outscored them, they've outpitched them, and have really done a nice job with runners in scoring position. Toyota and your local Toyota dealers, official partner of the Chicago Cubs. Well, there's a look for you, partner.
You like that, huh? That Princess Leia look, huh? Okay.
You don't need to buy earmuffs for the winner.
That's true. Yeah. There's left-hander Scott Maine. Think of how you would wear a baseball cap. It'd be easy.
It's a man that obviously does not have a mirror in his house.
One and one. Two and one to Holiday. Cubs getting two in the bottom of the fifth. Still trailing by a bunch. Side corner that time. When it's all said and done, a week from today, the Cardinals will have played 31 days in a row without an off day to finish the season. They had to fly to Florida last Monday just for one game, a makeup game. Backhanded by Castro, gets up quickly, strong throw. That's a nice play.
Hard hit ball, know your runner, know how much time you have to recover. Starlin Castro with a nice backhanded play went down to a knee, but with that kind of a throwing arm, you're going to get a lot of guys, even with the stumble in the middle of the play.
Brings up Rasmus. Takes a slider outside. Ball one. Feliz on deck for Descalzo, who's a left-handed hitter. Rocketed past Xavier Nady, right field corner. Rasmus on his way to second. He's going to stop there.
George Randall from Chicago is today's Hit the Jackpot with Powerball contestant. If the Cubs hit a home run in the next inning, George Randall will win 100 chances to win the Powerball jackpot. Wednesday's jackpot is worth $35 million.
Now the veteran Pedro Feliz. Just 148 here in September. Braves tied the Nationals 2-2 in the seventh, but Washington has just jumped ahead yet again, 4-2. It's a huge game for Atlanta. Over in the American League, the Blue Jays today won their 14th consecutive home game against the Baltimore Orioles. 5-2 the final.
Jose Bautista with 5 solo homers? No.
In fact, there was not a home run.
Wow. It's an oddity.
It is. McDonald from the 9th spot in the Blue Jays order knocked in 3. Sean Markham got his 13th win. He's bounced that one off his front foot. The Astros the other day lost their 100th game. This is the first time since 2001 they've had a 100-loss season. They're leading at home against Houston 5-3 in the bottom of the 8th. Entire Astros coaching staff received 2-year extensions, except for Jeff Bagwell. He was offered an extension, but he wants to talk it over with his family before deciding on his future. He's a hitting coach. Took over midseason. Bobby Scales throw late. Be an error on Bobby.
After the initial bobble, he still had time to make the play at first, but on the second grab, he was unable to come up with it cleanly. By the time he was able to sling it across to Xavier Nady, Feliz had beaten it out.
Brendan Ryan with 2 hits, an RBI, and a run. Also caught stealing in the 3rd. Rockies really in a must-win spot today against the Giants. And San Francisco leads 3-0 in the 4th. Matt Cain against Jorge De La Rosa. Freddie Sanchez with a 2-run homer in the 1st inning. One and two. See the story where the Giants had expressed some concern about The Rockies may be using some non-humidor treated baseballs. As Tim Lincecum threw a ball out the other night. Thought it was a juiced ball, as they're calling it.
I think the Giants and Rockies had some issues with that in an earlier series this season, and once again some concern as to whether both teams are using the same equipment during the game.
Ryan swings and misses for strike 3.
A nasty biting slider from Scott Maine that time. We've seen a really good fastball in the low to mid 90s from Scott Maine. Boy, if he can command that back foot slider like he did right there to Brendan Ryan, he would have two very good weapons to challenge an opposing lineup with.
Big day for Pagnazzi. RBI single, a walk, and then a 2-run double. As he looks at a strike. In that game in Toronto, Alfredo Simon, Orioles right-hander, was tossed from the game. He hit Jose Bautista with a pitch. Bautista with 9 homers against the Orioles this year. Buck Showalter came out to argue, and he got thrown out. Bautista got hit twice today. This game has a way of kind of evening things out. Not saying it's right. A guy with 52 home runs has to get hit by pitches. But I think it tells you why someone probably won't ever hit 400 again. Just don't know if pitching staffs will allow it. Because ultimately the pitcher controls what's going to happen. If you don't want to give a guy anything to hit, you don't.
Especially in the case of the home run hitters. Not knowing the history between the Orioles and the Blue Jays, I don't know how far back this thing might go, but if a guy's been beating your pitching staff all over the ballpark and hitting home runs with regularity, it tells me that he's pretty comfortable in that batter's box. Now, there may not have been intent to hit Jose Bautista. They just didn't want him to be comfortable leaning out over the plate and pulling pitches back to left and left center field.
And that's what he does best.
That is exactly what he does best. Like when you were a kid, you didn't have enough fielders and you had to call your field so the other team could align their defense appropriately. Well, Jose Bautista would call left field all the time.
Big leg kick. Pagnazzi stays alive. Red Sox trailing at the Angels 3-1 early. They're in the second. As Guillen continues to make headlines every day talking about his future, even though he is under contract for next year. Interesting to see how that plays out on the south side. DeWitt catches a Pagnazzi liner. Double and an error in the inning. No runs. 8-2 Cardinals. Along with Mike Quaddy, log on to WGNTV.com right now. Click on the WGN Sports Game Zone banner and connect to all the up-to-the-minute stats and info while watching at home. Game Zone is sponsored by The Great Escape, pools, patio and play sets, hot tubs, and more. Feliz stays in and plays third, as Jake Westbrook, who struggled through a 2-run fifth, faces Blake DeWitt. Diving attempt. Schumacher came up short. DeWitt has a leadoff single.
Only the second time in the ballgame the Cubs have had their leadoff man in an inning on base. The last time was in the third when Bobby Scales walked to start the inning, but unfortunately a Sam Fuld double play ended that when the Cubs were not able to score.
Xavier Nady will be able to sleep in his own bed the next 4 nights. He's home in San Diego area. Former Padre. And that one kicks off the glove of Brendan Ryan, who's had some trouble out there the last couple of innings. And the Cubs have a rally started.
The slicing drive off the bat of Brad Snyder gave him some issues. This hard hit ball right at him off the bat of Xavier Nady. He had no idea where that one went. That'll go down as an error on Brendan Ryan. Kind of a long hop right in front of him. Tried to stay in front of the ball, but shot over his shoulder into left field. That'll be an E6.
Downstairs to Fukudome. DeWitt with a leadoff single. Nady reached on the error. 2-1 count on Kosuke. Fair ball for Kosuke through the bullpen. DeWitt is in. Nady's going to stop at third, and it's 8-3. This game far from over.
Kosuke pulling a bullet right down that first baseline past Albert Pujols, who never moved. I think he might have been screened by Xavier Nady, taking his lead off of first. And DeWitt's going to score easily on this ball in the right field corner. Nady, who does not run quite as well, had to be held up at third, but with nobody out in the inning, the Cubs have it cooking.
Hard throwing Jason Mott up in the visitor's pen. And Soriano. Cubs can at least get the 2 in who are on at the moment. They'd be right back in this thing. One and one. It's the slider. Westbrook had a no-hitter in the 5th inning. And an 8-0 lead. Now it's 8-3, and the Cubs threatening to get more. Back to Westbrook. Runners hold. Soriano retired.
Hey fans, visit the official online shop of the Chicago Cubs at Cubs.com. Browse the largest selection of official gear, including the latest apparel, nostalgic memorabilia, and authentic classics for the whole family. Get your gear from the official source, the Cubs.com shop. Accept no substitutes.
Hey, Ron Santo asked us to mention his 32nd annual Ron Santo Walk to Cure Diabetes, which is set for 1 week from today, October 3rd. 6 different events, and the aim is to raise $5 million for JDRF, Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. We benefit from your donations. Walks scheduled on the Chicago lakefront, Libertyville, Schaumburg, Palos Hills, Peoria, and Lisle. And for more information, go to jdrfillinois.org. jdrfillinois.org. And again, for our Mesa Cub fans in Arizona, Saturday, October 9th, meet Ron Santo from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. at Ho-Ho-Com Park in Mesa. And vote yes on Proposition 420 in the November election. Go to keepthecubs.com for more information. Today is Ron's final radio broadcast of the season, but he'll be following the team on TV and the radio this week, and again we'll be participating in his big event coming up on Sunday. Ball 4 to Bobby Scales to load the bases. Tony La Russa is going to make a change. He wants Mott. So Westbrook ran out of gas here in the 6th inning after a strong start this afternoon. 8-3 St. Louis. With the bases loaded and only 1 out.
Get ready to hit a fastball. He's got a good one. His 4-seamer sits right around 95, 96 miles an hour. He also throws a cutter in the low 90s. He'll throw a rare curveball. How rare? 8 out of every 10 pitches he's delivered this year have been fastballs.
I'm not buying that beer. That's real?
I don't know. All these Cardinals relief pitchers came into this series looking much more burly than they did earlier this season.
The Jason Mott beard looks like the claymation beard of Santa, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Want to run down there and pull it?
No. I'm sure it's real. He's a little quirky. Walks almost halfway to the plate to receive the throw from the catcher. Pulling at his jersey and his cap, looking at the baseball, wiping his face, tugging on his cap again. Making me nervous. Is 1-2. Fastball pounded on the ground. It backs up Ryan. Throw goes to third. And they get the force there. Cubs get a run. It will be an RBI for Castillo as Nady scores to make it 8-4. Going to go 6-5 on the force play at third base.
It's actually a pretty heads-up play by Brendan Ryan. He was not going to get an out anywhere else on the diamond. And you saw Feliz with a late tag there. He had his right foot on the side of the bag. That's a force play at third base. He did not need to tag Fukudome sliding into third.
Pinch hitter Micah Hoffpower. .96 but outside. Hoffpower hitting for Scott Maine. See Marcos Mateo in the seventh. Two balls, no strikes. Sun is out really for the first time today. Hoffpower with a base hit. Bobby Scales coming home. It's 8-5. Cubs pinch hitters today, 2 for 2 with 3 RBIs.
Micah Hoffpower gets a pitch right where he likes it, down and in. Just dropped the barrel of the bat on it, hit a screaming line drive through that right side. Cubs continue to peck away at the Cardinals here. This is usually about the point of a ball game when they have the lead that Tony La Russa will get his fingers all over this game. We'll start to see some delays. We'll see a parade of relief pitchers, anything to try to slow the momentum of the Cubs offense. Keep the line moving. Mentioned Mott in that mid to upper 90s fastball. Doesn't always know exactly where it's going to go when it leaves his hand as left-hander Trevor Miller starts to warm up for the Cardinals. He's one of those guys, Jason Mott that is, that just kind of aims toward the catcher's mask and hopes for good things.
Cardinals scored the first 8 runs. Cubs the last 5. They have the tying run at the plate. Two and one. Cannot stand to watch it right now. Two and two.
Pulled with a very good eye at the plate, laid off that borderline low fastball. Cardinals get the called strike. Nice job by Pagnazzi to hold that ball right there at the bottom of the zone.
Got it. Called strike 3, and the inning is over, but the Cubs get 3. And trail 8-5 after 6. Has 5 runs to make it 8-5. But it's up to the bullpen to keep the Cardinals within shouting distance. Marcos Mateo here in the 7th, the third reliever after a tough day for Jeff Samardzija. John Jay will pinch hit for Jason Mott. Final home game, that means the Wrigley Field grounds crew will lead the stretch from the field after the top of this 7th inning. I think we're waiting for the lights to come on. Is that what you're gathering, Bob?
Yeah, I think so.
Hey, Cub fans, Wednesday is National Sierra Mist Natural Sampling Day. New Sierra Mist Natural is made with real sugar, 100% natural flavors, and nothing artificial. Look for free samples of Sierra Mist Natural all over Chicagoland tomorrow. Doesn't seem that much darker now than it did an hour ago, but
I think just the fact that we had that little bit of sunshine for part of that last half inning, and then the clouds rolled in once again and made it feel a lot darker than it really is. These are pretty much the conditions we played under all afternoon, but we're going to have a slight delay here while we wait for the lights to heat up. And while we've got a moment, let's take a look at our PNC Cubs Achiever. Congratulations to the Cub fans. They do it again. 3 million in home attendance for the 7th consecutive season. The only Chicago sports team to ever reach 3 million in attendance. PNC Bank is proud to be an official sponsor of the Chicago Cubs and just as proud to support the fans and community who cheer them on. PNC for the achiever in us all.
Nice going, fans. Ball 1 to pinch hitter John Jay. Fastball is hit foul. 1-1. The return toss got past Mateo, so we'll try a new ball. Another foul. In tight. Tampa Bay lost at home to Seattle 6-2. James Shields is under 500, 13-14 with a loss. Opens the door for the Yankees to get back within a half game in the East. Ichiro with 2 more hits. 205 on the year. Red Sox and Yankees see a Sunday night matchup. Daisuke Matsuzaka against Dustin Mosley. Scheduled starters in that one. Ball 4. Schumacher 0 for 2, but he has also walked twice and scored once. Mateo's ready. Schumacher was checking out the signs from third base coach Jose Oquendo.
We talked about the Cardinals throughout the regular season. They don't run nearly as much as Cardinals teams in the past. Pujols leads the club with 13 stolen bases, Rasmus with 11, Brendan Ryan with 10. But however, they do still play a lot of hit and run. And anytime you see a hitter look down to third base as long as Schumacher did, it sends up a little bit of a red flag. So Mateo has snapped a couple throws over to first base just to see if anything's going on.
Six-year-old righty dealing. 2-1. Left-hander James Russell up for the Cubs.
Upside down.
Bobby Scales with a leap and a catch to Rob Schumacher.
Bobby Scales drawn in a little bit at third base. Wasn't quite sure if Schumacher was going to swing away or maybe attempt to put down a sac bunt. He has done that several times this year. Instead, Schumacher with a slashing swing hits a line drive that Bobby has to go up the ladder. Took a quick peek at first, but Jake kind of froze in his tracks over there and was able to get back safely.
Two 2-0 as Mateo has gotten behind Alan Craig. Next time we see you here at Wrigley Field, it'll be opening day 2011. It's going to be against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Opening day will be on a Friday. Runner going as Craig fouled it off. Friday, April 1st, 2011. Starts a 6-game homestand, the Pirates and Diamondbacks. Well, they all thrown off. Not sure when the Cactus League schedule will end, but it might be in the middle of the week.
I just show up when they tell me to. Tell you what day it is. Rarely know what month it is.
Towering fly ball way up in the air. Soriano is going to have room. It was a major league fly ball right there.
I sure was. Fortunately, Craig didn't straighten it out. The wind continues to blow in from left center field pretty briskly. Helped knock that one down right into the glove of Alfonso Soriano.
Larry Rothschild is out. The season starts on a Friday, ends on a Wednesday next season.
A lot can happen between now and next year's opening day, obviously, but to start the season with the Pirates and the Diamondbacks, you'd like to think that the Cubs could maybe get out of the chute a little bit quicker next year than they did this year.
Now that's the hope. But he thought this team had a favorable schedule this season, and it just did not play out the way as planned. Kick the 1-0 pitch outside corner. Albert Pujols got the Cardinals going in the first inning with a 3-run homer off Jeff Samardzija. Broken bat ground ball as DeWitt will get the out at second base. And it's time to sing the stretch. Hopefully everybody's all right. Alan Trammell, I think, got that one on the hand. Man, oh man. Here comes the grounds crew from the field.
Field grounds crew.
All right, Gary, you ready? 1, 2, 3. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and cracker jacks. I don't care if I ever get back, so it's root for the Cubbies. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball
Another broken bat. Well, this has been a rough week for the Cubs. They hope Alan Trammell, the bench coach, is okay as Trevor Miller faces Starlin Castro here in the bottom of the 7th. Watch this.
Once again, just very, very fortunate that he wasn't struck with the sharp end of that bat as Tyler Colvin was down in Florida last week. A couple of weeks ago, I guess it's been now. Man, is that dangerous. Start issuing flak jackets. It's part of the uniform.
Cubs with 2 in the 5th, 3 more in the 6th. A 3-1 count on Castro. Jay is in to play right, so Alan Craig is out. That's where the pitcher's spot is now. Second in their lineup. Ground ball past Miller, but right to Schumacher. Let's get to know the left-hander Trevor Miller. 54th appearance. Well, we haven't seen a whole lot of him this year, and I think partly because the Cubs a lot of right-handed hitters, and they've been good against lefties.
We have seen a little more of Dennis Reyes, a left-hander, also out of the Cardinals bullpen, who is equally effective against right-handed hitters. So in those situations where the Cubs have a lefty followed by a couple of righties, we've seen Dennis Reyes a lot more than Trevor Miller.
Popped up by DeWitt back our way. In fact, I believe this is Miller's first appearance this season against the Cubs. The center and a base hit right in front of Rasmus. Second consecutive hit for Blake DeWitt.
Hey fans, we invite you to sign up for a subscription to Vineline, the official monthly magazine of the Chicago Cubs. Vineline offers exclusive insider coverage and photography all year long. Visit the Vineline blog at Cubs.com for extra content and order today.
Runner at first, 1 out for Nady. Line shot, center field, base hit. Gets all the way past Rasmus. DeWitt will be able to score easily. Nady on his way to third. It's 8-6 with a tying run coming up. Rasmus couldn't knock it down.
Good approach by both Blake DeWitt and Xavier Nady against Trevor Miller, staying up the middle of the field, and this ball hit like a bullet. You don't usually see an outfielder get handcuffed by a line drive, but that's exactly what happens right here. Rasmus got caught in no man's land, tried to play it off to the side. It gets all the way to the vines.
A single and an error. No RBI for Nady. 2 errors by the Cardinals the last couple of innings. And you don't have to get it all back here. We're only in the 7th, but you really want to get, at the very least, that guy in from third with less than 2 outs. Oh, 1. Slider missed outside.
or even a ground ball anywhere but right at Pedro Feliz at third, or right back to the mound to Trevor Miller should score Xavier Nady from third base. Cardinals playing back all the way around at the other three positions.
Left field, Holiday over, makes a catch in foul territory, and it'll be a sac fly for Fukudome. It's 8-7.
Not an easy at bat for Kosuke against the left-hander Trevor Miller, but he hung in there and battled and ultimately got that sac fly to left field to make this a one-run ball game.
Tony La Russa is going to make another change. So it's right-hander Mitchell Boggs when we come back. Cardinals got 8, and the Cubs got 7. And here we are. 2 outs, nobody on in the bottom of the 7th inning. Ball 1. First appearance in 5 days for Boggs. If you have any depth in your bullpen and you're getting decent enough starts at this time of the year, sometimes it's hard to keep everybody fresh. Keep them in the mix. Floated down the right field line, foul. In some cases, in a pennant race, a manager will rely on 2 or 3 guys and he'll just go to them every single day. Have options in your bullpen and you've got 11 or 12 guys out there, sometimes you just have to find a way to get them in. Most relievers don't like going 5 days in between appearances. Swing and a miss. 98 on that fastball from Mitchell Boggs. He can really get it up there. He hit 100 on a couple pitches earlier this year for the first time in his career. Soriano really chased, racing toward first, throw there, save. So a strikeout, the pitch got away from Pagnazzi, and the tying run is on. It's a wild pitch.
Fastball sits in the upper 90s. That hard slider down in the dirt. Pagnozzi tried to block it, hit his right shoulder, and got over into that Cardinals on deck circle. See Soriano helping first base umpire with the call down there. That's Angel Hernandez at first base. Pujols came off that bag awfully early. That's kind of surprising. It looked like they still had a play on Soriano, but Pujols pulled the right foot off the bag, went into foul territory just to make sure that throw didn't get by.
Perfect day at the plate for Scales. Single, 2 walks, stolen bases, first career theft, and 2 runs. Hard throwing Andrew Kashner for the Cubs.
A good take right there by Bobby Scales. That's the tempting pitch against a guy that throws as hard as Boggs does. That 4-seam fastball right about the letters. It looks so good coming in there, but you've really got to be quick with your top hand to get on that pitch. That time a good take by Bobby.
.99, but it missed. Castillo on deck. Quanti chatting with Aramis Ramirez about a possible pinch hit appearance here in the late innings. Ball 4. Scales has walked 3 times. He has a good eye. Excellent on-base percentage at AAA Iowa. Dave Duncan coming out. Scales finished with a .397 OBP, only because he walked 72 times with Iowa. .268. Got on base almost 4 out of every 10 appearances. Ramirez now on deck in the pitcher's spot with Castillo at the plate. Inning extended on a strikeout and a wild pitch. Pass to Devon Jesus. Hey, crowd today, 38,057. Final home tally on the year, 3,062,973. Set at the belt. Pop up as Pagnazzi's right at the barrier, and the ball ended up about 4 rows in.
Thank you, Wynn. Off the bat, that ball looked like it might have a chance to stay in play behind home plate, but Wynn continues to howl in from left center field, push that one right up into the stands, giving Castillo new life.
Swing and a miss, and that'll end the inning. But 2 more, and the Cubs are within 1 as we head to the 8th.
Game summary, Jake Westbrook with a no-hitter through 4 ran into some trouble in the 5th, could not escape the 6th. For Jeff Samardzija, a real rocky outing today. 7 walks in his 4 1/3, leading the way to 8 earned runs. Cubs offense have put them right back into a position to win this ball game late. Visit your Honda dealer and test drive a 2010 Honda CR-V.
Cold, blustery Sunday afternoon here on the north side of Chicago, just off Lake Michigan, as the Cubs wrap up their home portion of the schedule. And a big comeback. They were down 8-0 early and now trail 8-7 in the 8th. I say early in the 5th inning, it was 8-0. One and one on Holiday. Justin Berg gave up an inherited run that then Scott Maine and Marcos Mateo each with a scoreless inning to keep the Cardinals at 8. Two and two. Giants right-hander Matt Cain is no-hitting the Colorado Rockies through 6 innings. 4-0 Giants in the 7th. And he's been efficient, only 76 pitches, so apparently they are using the humidor balls today. Whatever it is, Cain has used it to his advantage. That came with 6 shutout innings and just 2 hits in a 1-0 win here on Tuesday. Braves lost in Washington, 4-2 the final. Every game has huge importance. Teams in the race right now as Kosuke is backpedaling just onto the warning track to get Holiday. The Giants win today, and the Braves would be a game behind them in the wild card, although the Giants could pass San Diego and into first in the West.
The Giants and San Diego have been playing leapfrog nearly every day. Half a game up, half a game down, half a game up, half a game down.
Phillies lost 7-3, so they have not officially clinched the East. But with another Braves loss or a Phillies win, it's over.
How do you spell that?
O-V-U-H. Over. There you go. It's over. Cashner's 1-2. Rasmus pops it foul off to the left.
No snow in the forecast today, is there?
I don't believe there is. I'm starting to wonder. All I know is it's going to be in the low 80s in San Diego this week.
Early morning coastal fog.
Being burned off by midday. Too much protection from the wind at the top of the bleachers. Gloves on. All bundled up.
This is kind of like spring training for your winter wardrobe. You break them out a little bit at a time. Stocking cap.
Yeah. The worn tattoos protecting him. DeWitt can't get it. Just bounced over his glove. Probably a single for Rasmus. It is.
Looked like that ball hit right at the outfield lip of the grass. Hard ground ball hit to Blake DeWitt's left as he got over there and got into position to make the play. It skipped right off of that cut of the grass, shot over his glove into right field.
Slider in the box for a strike. 0-1 to Feliz. Another one, he missed it. That Mets win against the Phillies. Carlos Beltran had 3 hits, including 2 home runs. Left center. This is going to be trouble, and it'll get down, and Rasmus is going to get third. And no double play in order now because Feliz took second on the throw to third by Soriano.
Yeah, not a good try to get the lead runner right there. Soriano moving to his left, had to regather, turn, and throw back to third. Rasmus was already sliding into the bag. But even more importantly, Feliz alertly saw that throw going to third base and advanced into scoring position, taking away the possibility of a double play.
You hate to give those runs right back as they will walk Ryan and get to Pagnazzi with the bases loaded.
Definitely the percentage move here for Mike Quade and the Cubs. You go ahead and walk Brendan Ryan, sets up a double play once again. For Matt Pagnazzi, the Cardinals catcher, does not run extremely well. Key is to get that ground ball.
Tony could pinch hit for Pagnazzi, although he's had a really good day at the plate. He's going to reward him by letting him take the at-bat. One out he has made. It was a line out. Russell's up for the second time today. Seven, but inside. Including the intentional walks today, Bob, we've seen 15 combined.
It's tough to win a ball game. Doesn't make it impossible, but it just makes it a little tougher. Puts a lot of pressure on your own offense to make something happen.
Cubs have walked 10. Cardinals pitching staff 5. How about 2? Castro, DeWitt, Nady. Cashner pumps his fist as he gets out of it. And it's still 8-7 to the bottom of the 8th.
Mike Quade before the ball game today, the final home game of the 2010 season. Each player went around the field with a bag full of autographed baseballs, distributed some randomly, some a little more directly, and And some of the fans are going to go home with a big smile on their face and an autographed baseball from one of their favorite Cubs players. Find out more of what's possible at AT&T.com. AT&T, rethink possible.
Darwin Barney will pinch hit and lead off the 8th. Almost got tagged there by the box fastball at 94. Up and coming Cardinal fan. 97 for a strike. 8-7 St. Louis. Well, Ramos Ramirez still available later as a pinch hitter. He was on deck when the 7th inning ended. He needs another sweatshirt. Fold on deck. And Castro. Happy 50th wedding anniversary wishes go out to big Cub fans Carol and Rocky Strickler.
Len, you mentioned Ramos Ramirez still available off the bench. One thing to consider, he is a .375 hitter with a home run against the closer, Ryan Franklin from the Cardinals. I'm sure Mike Quaddy is going to drop him in wherever the opportunity presents itself, but we might not see him take his at-bat until the 9th inning against the closer from the Cardinals if this score holds up.
Tricia and Victor Warner are here today with their 9-week-old daughter, Penelope Grace. Born in July. Today at her 2nd Cubs game. Let's say hi to Grandpa Robert Salinas. Job by Casey Coleman. He beat Chris Carpenter yesterday. How about this battle? Already a 9-pitch at bat. 4 consecutive foul balls. Here's number 10. Another foul. 5 in a row. Two on Barney. Another one. Got him that time on a power slider.
Hawks finally able to locate that slider on the outside corner. He left a couple over the plate for Darwin. He was able to foul him off to stay alive, but finally a well-located slider right on the corner for strike 3.
Cardinals will bring on their closer with 1 out. Ryan Franklin will be asked to get the final 5 outs. 8-7 St. Louis in the 8th. for Feliz. And he'll bat in the second spot. And the closer, Ryan Franklin, 25 out of 27 on the year, will come on with 1 out in the 8th inning.
Any pitch you've ever heard of, Franklin probably throws it.
Scoreless inning on Friday in a non-save spot. Quickly went 1-2-3, yeah, including a knuckleball.
Yep. A couple of different fastballs, a curveball, a slider, a change, a splitter, and a knuckleball.
Change up in the dirt. Little sliver of blue sky as we look north. It's kind of boring through a fastball. Oof. All these other exotic pitches. There's one right down the middle. Another one low, 3-1. Outside that time, ball 4. Tying run on. Good speed, Sam Fold. Go to first, Fold back, plenty of time. Also still throwing along with the closer, Carlos Marmol. Oh, 0-2.
Risky proposition to try to steal a base against Ryan Franklin. He's only surrendered 1 stolen base all year, but now keep in mind, most of the time he had Yadier Molina behind the plate catching him. We saw Pagnazzi have some issues with a throw to second base earlier in the ball game, but Franklin with quick feet has a good pickoff move and gets rid of the ball fairly quick to home plate.
Squirts past, that's significant. Tying run now, potentially a single away from scoring. It's a wild pitch.
Pagnazzi just didn't get that glove all the way down to the ground. Just enough room for that ball to scoot underneath, hit him in the right foot, and went back near the Cardinals on deck circle, allowing Fold to move into scoring position. Mentioned Franklin throws a lot of different pitches. That curveball that we've seen on the last 2 is usually his put-away pitch. It's his off-speed pitch that he has the most confidence in. And we'll go to it often in 2-strike counts.
Completely sure if Marlon Byrd is available to pinch hit. The guess would be yes, but I think Mike Quaddy would love to give him a complete day off. fouling that ball off his face a couple of days ago. We haven't seen Marlin in action since. We mentioned Ramirez is available. Two and two. Castro giving Franklin a good battle. DeWitt on deck, 2-2 the count. Tying run at second with one out. There it is. 3-2. Payoff delivery. Goes way off of first base. That's where he likes to play. Sort of late swing from Castro. He can tuck one right inside that first base line. Another 3-2. He's right on him. Probably ball four, but a little too close to take. Castro's eyes. Third, Tyler Green the first, Fold holding in second. That was a good at bat. It didn't end up the way Starlin wanted it to. Gave himself a chance.
Some good swings and some borderline pitches just to stay alive in the at bat, and ideally a long at bat like that, forcing Franklin to throw a lot of pitches here in the eighth inning, might pay benefits in the ninth. I really think that's a little bit of what happened to Jake Westbrook in this ball game today. He cruised through the first four innings on very few pitches, and the Cubs really extended him in that fifth inning when they had 3 base hits and also a walk and pushed across a couple of runs, and he just was not the same after that.
DeWitt starting in the third spot in the order for the second time in his career, and he's gone 2 out of 4 with 2 runs. Blake had a couple of hits yesterday in the leadoff spot, a double and a 2-run triple. 80 on deck.
And then you pointed out the right side of the infield defense for the Cardinals with Starlin Castro at the plate. Pujols was way off the line. Schumacher was way up the middle of the field, almost exactly the opposite here. Each guy is probably a good 12 or 15 steps closer to that first baseline than they were for the right-handed hitter.
Rasmus about as shallow as you can play as a center fielder.
Hey, it might be tough to hit one over his head because of the wind conditions, but if you were able to hit a line drive toward that gap in right center, it's going to roll for a long time.
Shot foul. Cardinals scored 4 in the first, 4 in the fifth. Cubs got 2 in the fifth, 3 in the sixth, 2 in the seventh. Trying to at least tie it up here in the eighth.
This is one problem with having 7 or more pitches at your disposal. If you've got a specific pitch in mind and that catcher's not thinking along with you, it takes a long time to shake around to the pitch you want to throw.
Here is that 3-2 pitch. Ball 4. Franklin has faced 3 and has walked 2. See if Nady can come up with a big hit. 2 on, 2 down. Up in the air. Rasmus is playing in. This ball is going to be caught by the right fielder, John Jay. Cubs strand 2. We'll go to the ninth. 8-7 Cardinals. Here in 2010, and we want to send out a very hearty thank you to our entire WGN home crew. Best in the business. They are passionate about baseball and about putting on the best TV show possible. We can't thank them enough. They make us laugh, too.
Oh, they make us laugh every day. That's a key part of any crew, Len. The guys that understand the game, they know what to look for. They anticipate plays just like we try to anticipate stuff up here in the booth. They're as good as they get.
Bob Albrecht up at high first today. Kenny Lyles, Mike Clay, Jim Tianis, Griffiths, camera crew out in the elements this afternoon. 0-2 on John Jay. James Russell is on. He'll pause back up here in the booth with us, running the RoboCam. And they're all very comfortable in the air-conditioned and heated production truck. Grady, Skip Ellis, and Doug Stanton, and our entire production crew. Jay lofting into left center for Sam Fuld.
I think overall James Russell has had a very successful first season with the Cubs. He's had some rocky outings that have really skewed his numbers badly in a negative direction, but his development as a left-handed specialist continues to this day. He's done a nice job for the most part.
Aaron Miles hitting for Skip Schumacher, and will probably just finish the game at second. Andrew Cashner today with his 50th relief appearance. So you put Cashner and Russell together. First time the Cubs have had two rookies with at least 50 appearances since Chuck McElroy and Heathcliff Slocum in 1991. Miles a switch hitter. Dribbled to first. Nady by himself. 2 outs. Let's look ahead. Perdomo, Soriano, and Scales, the scheduled batters in the bottom of the ninth against Ryan Franklin. First to bat for Tyler Green. Came in the last half inning on defense. There's a bunt. It's a good one. It's a base hit for Green.
Put it in an absolutely perfect spot. One big bounce. Second bounce is when James Russell got to the ball but lost his balance, went down to the turf, and Green is able to leg it out for a bunt base hit. It's a stolen base threat as well. We mentioned it earlier. The Cardinals don't run nearly as much as Cardinals teams in the past. Last year in Memphis, Green stole 31 bases in 34 attempts, so James Russell going to have to keep an eye on him over there. Thomas Diamond's going to have to keep an eye on him over there.
Diamond coming in to face Albert Pujols. When we come back. get out of this ninth inning. Runner at first, 2 outs. I guess that makes it a little easier. You just walk them now if they want to. Wild pitch. What would you do?
I would want to walk it.
What do you have to lose at this point?
Like a cut fastball just spiked into the dirt over there in that left-handed batter's box, and the Cubs are indeed going to pass Albert Pujols intentionally here. With a little bit of encouragement for the next hitter, Matt Holliday, try to pick up the slack. Thomas Diamond, if he could work that fastball across the top of the strike zone the way he's done so effectively in his time here at the big league level, could get Matt Holliday to either pop one up or swing and miss. Seems like Holliday's had his best swings in this series on breaking balls in the strike zone.
Bob, one other person we want to thank. Come here, VJ. The star of the show. We want to thank everyone in the Cubs organization, but especially this guy right here from the Cubs Community Relations Department, BJ Tekendani. Come on, stand up, BJ.
There he is.
The man, he takes care of everything, and we can't thank him enough for all of his help throughout the last several seasons. The star of the show right here. Thank you, sir.
No doubt about it. We could not get through a day without VJ here at the ballpark.
See, I had to bluff. I had to tell him something else to get him in the booth so we could put him on camera. Likes to be behind the scenes, but we wanted to spotlight BJ today. Two and one on Matt Holliday. Now 3-1. One of the problems when you intentionally walk somebody is you can't then walk the next guy and create even a bigger jam. Holliday had a good rip. He waited back and lined it foul. Everybody's all right over there. That's why you've got to be watching at all times when you're in the seats here, and even then, you've got to be careful. Runners go. Call strike three. Holliday didn't think so. That'll give the Cubs a chance down one in the bottom of the ninth. base. And Joe Mather as the Beaver. It's Jerry Mather. Joe Mather in left. 8-7 bottom 9. Ryan Franklin against Kosuke Fukudome. Franklin threw 23 pitches to get the final 2 outs of the 8th. Missed again, 2-0. Soriano on deck, then Bobby Scales. Mike Quaddy will have some options off his bench. Miles knocks it down. He has time. Quick throw to Pujols. And they get Kosuke.
That's too bad for Kosuke. Worked the count in his favor. Got a good pitch to hit. He hit it hard. Unfortunately, right at Aaron Miles, just into the ball game. Plays it off his chest and throws on in time for the out.
Alfonso with 4 career homers against Ryan Franklin as he hits a flare out to Miles in shallow center. 2 outs. Bobby Scales coming up.
Can you do it one more time? 4 plate appearances in the game for Bobby Scales. He's reached base all 4 times. 3 walks, a base hit. He scored twice, stolen a base. Needed to get on there one more time.
Pop foul out of play. Fans on their feet. Final home game of the year. Cubs try to come all the way back from an 8-0 deficit. See if they've got one last rally in them today. Franklin ready. Here's his 1-1 pitch. Cubs down to their final strike. Castillo on deck. One-two. Miles will get another chance. That goes 4-3. And the Cardinals win the game 8-7. The Cubs take the season series 9-6, although they went 4-5 here at home. The home schedule is over. The Cubs went 35-46 here at Wrigley Field. And Bob's going to get tougher on this next road trip. You've got a focused San Diego club trying to clinch a division or at least a playoff spot. And the Cubs will continue to try to play that spoiler role.
Well, it'll be a great experience for this young Cubs ball club to participate in a pennant race, even though the best you can hope for is to be a spoiler. But, boy, the intensity and the electricity in the ballpark at Petco should be something special for these guys to experience.
So the final score today, the Cardinals 8, the Cubs 7. They made it a ball game late, came up a little bit short, and we'll have more from Wrigley Field in a moment.